Yeah, I'm just as confused as you are. This game is certainly not the most enigmatic or weird out there, but it definitely hit me with a bizarre and confused vibe as I played it. Honestly, one of the main reasons I was able to gather footage and write out a full review rather than just dismiss the game like I did with Satellite Rain is because of the confusion I felt. The game is half-baked, broken, and mostly abandoned by its developers, with some small community servers keeping it alive for the sorry folks who actually pay $25 for this game. And at this point, I feel it's probably the right move to do what I was encouraged to do and talk about this game. So to those of you who are asking for it, here you go. This is Hurtworld. In short, Hurtworld is a poorly made, half-baked attempt at a Rust clone that came out of early access in December of 2019. So yeah, this is the full release, and mind you, the game hasn't been updated as far as I can tell since January of 2020. So we're dealing with a full game here, and what do we get? Well, we get an art style that I'm suspicious of just being a ploy to use bought assets and make it look original. Even then, the texture work is shoddy at best, everything is flat and low res. The character creator is just a bunch of generic templates too. You just choose a male or female version of the template, decide their hair, and spawn in the world. So yeah, visual design is generic and half of it looks bought to begin with. What about the sound? Well, there's not much of it at all. Most of the sound effects are just basic survival game noises, and there's only like 1 or 2 music tracks I've been able to hear. That's assuming the music plays at all even. For a long time you can just be walking around in utter silence and out of nowhere. That music will then proceed to play itself on loop for the rest of the time you're playing on that server until you quit. By the way, the game doesn't close, it crashes. The gameplay is just as lazy as the presentation design. It's clear from the moment you spawn in that every bit of gameplay is meant to ape Rust with barely any sense of originality whatsoever. You spawn in with nothing but your underwear and have to gather various resources to build a base and survive both the environment around you, as well as the players who will most of the time try to kill you on sight and take your stuff. Now of course this concept isn't necessarily bad, but it was all executed in the laziest ways possible. Half of the systems in the game don't work properly to begin with or just don't make sense. Why do I need animal bones to make a black t-shirt? Why do I need fat to make a bullet? These questions, and more, will never be answered. Though I can take a decent guess and say the devs couldn't find a way to add more sensible resources, so they just used what they already had programmed in. Also, remember that part about building a base? Yeah, that's broken too. In Hurtworld, everything is split up into these building squares, and half of them are unusable for some reason. The game is extremely picky about what land is and isn't viable to place your stuff on, so good luck trying to base build when the best the game will allow is a shack right inside a mountain. On the survival side of things, it has what you expect in the form of a health, temperature, and hunger bar. If your health runs low, you die. If you begin to starve, you'll lose health until you die. Good luck trying to get food with the random drop system animals have, by the way. The one that confuses me, though, is the temperature system. The idea makes sense. Keep your temperature at something healthy, right? If you get too hot, you'll die of a heat stroke. Get too cold, you'll freeze to death. Yada yada yada. Use various items to maintain your temperature. Here's the catch, though. Some areas are blazing hot seemingly all the time for no reason, and during the night, people who haven't gotten any clothing yet are liable to freeze, except not, because nighttime doesn't last long enough for someone who's bare naked to freeze to death, rendering the entire point of that being a danger redundant. The game is full of this, and seeing as this looks like the first game these developers have released, I'm just left with confusion. What was the point of this game? Was it a small team of new game devs who just really like Rust and wanted to make their own? Were they trying to jump on the survival game hype train? And why did they give up? They ceased all action roughly a month after it came out of early access, and things looked like they were doing well, so what prompted them to stop? I highly doubt I will ever know. And that was my experience with Hurtworld, a game rife with poor, lazy, and outright confusing design choices and a lack of much technical skill. I gotta say, I'm glad I got this for free from a friend. This would have been a massive mistake had I spent the full $25 price tag on this thing, especially since it's been effectively abandoned for almost a year now. In conclusion, don't touch this game with a 10-foot pole. I don't care how little value you put in your $25, you'll get something better elsewhere, believe me. This has been TheRatMan, and I will see you all later. Lastly, a special thank you shout out for my Patreon. With $5 a month pledge is cupping my nuts to protect them from the nut decoupler. Thank you for the $5.